Series of today. It's FBW versus SouL Gaming.
Yeah, FBW had a good season so far, but SouL, I mean, if these guys don't make playoffs, it's a big deal. So having them meet here forces one of them to lose. I actually don't know who to bet on here. Once again, it depends on the rosters for the team. So let's check it out.
Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the group to start us off with. We're going into our Group B match of today. So SouL currently sitting comfortably with a 5-0 lead. I don't think they can actually get knocked out of the playoffs at this point, but it's going to be a battle here for second place, with DM taking the 3-2 second place position on Monday, but FBW, Psystorm and Bull all very, very close behind. Now, Psystorm is a name that you wouldn't until now really say anywhere close to the playoffs, but this round they certainly are.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And actually, as we get closer and closer to playoffs, that's where it becomes kind of heartbreaking, because you have to figure out, okay, how many games do I need to win in order to make it? And some of these teams are actually super close to each other, so
Yeah.
you actually won't know until the very end.
Yeah, because unlike in round 2 where we had 3 teams very close to each other, like their win difference was huge. So you had like one team that was on +10, one who was on +5, and then one that was on like +1 or something, which made it very difficult. But when you actually look at the difference between the teams here, FBW are +0 and DMR as well, so both of them completely even. Psystorm are only on -1, so a good win could actually project them above both of the teams. And Bull are on -5, so Bull are definitely the ones with the harder path here. And then Valhalla team, they are 2 for 3, but depending on how the next games go, they could still qualify as well. Clan Rev, unfortunately, down there at the bottom. They've been without a few of their really good players this round, so that's certainly been a problem. But if we have a quick look at the player rankings here as well, just because we do have a couple of we have 2 players from SouL. Noob, actually the highest ranked player, and Scan just below him in 3rd position, and TT1 creeping up onto the board with arguably one of the best win rates we've got, other than Ho. Ho's actually 12 for 2 now, so it's a little bit unfortunate for him, but TT1 11 for 1.
TT1 being 11 for 1 is very surprising. Not that I expect him to win, but just like, that's just very, very good. So really, really sick record there for him. And just in case you're wondering how stacked this bracket or this elo system is, 11-1 isn't good enough to be better than 8th place. Like, that's an insane record. If you had 11-1 score in like Pro League, like Shinhan Bank Pro League, you're actually the best player in the world at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. Like we've had a lot of players who have played a lot of games against a lot of really tough opponents. Especially Noob has had one of the hardest paths through the STPL. He's played some really, really good players on sort of both sides of the bracket too. So if we actually have a look at our 2 teams matchup here, we can see how they've done and if they've actually played against each other. It's one of those things I can't actually remember with these 2 teams. I don't remember them meeting before, but I've got this thing. Luckily enough, my database is going to tell me if they have or not, and that is the best thing about this. So you can see they have in fact met once before. SouL did take the win. FBW have had a couple of names, so that's why they've only got 8 wins overall, but in round 4, round 3, they kind of came out their shell a lot. They added TT1 and Cadenzi to their roster and suddenly started rocketing up the scoreboard. And they've done really, really well so far in round 4.
Yeah, they absolutely have. This is one of the biggest kind of swings that I've seen for a team in a long time. Foreign Brood War, even though they only have 8 total wins, you look at their record overall, and it's good enough to be middle of the pack. So SouL, obviously, here I think you can see over the course of every single round, this mostly just shows their consistency. But specifically this round, I mean, they're 5-0, so there's not too many bad things you can say about that. So certainly come in as maybe the favorites, but FBW's no joke this round, so I expect to see a really close series.
Yep, so let's actually have a look at the rosters of both of these teams, then we can kind of decide what the key match is going to be. So for FBW, we're going to have game 1, unfortunately, is a walkover again. Noob actually didn't show up, or yeah, Noob didn't show up to his game for whatever reason, and unfortunately Fujikura is in Australia, having a really nice holiday. So, yeah, he didn't. Tempest gets the walk over there. So FBW are going to be starting 1-0. But we're going to go to Cadenzi versus Buell, which should be sick on La Mancha. TT1 versus Spire on Neo Medusa, that's going to be cool as well. And Hinru versus Scan on New Bloody Ridge. I mean, we've got some really, really cool matchups here. I mean, I've definitely got one in mind that I would say is the key match, but I'll go with your decision.
For me, when you think about it, the first game, might have actually been really sick. Cadenzi versus Biol, I mean, that's the one I would pick just because they're both sort of, maybe not the best players on their team, but actually just insane. Actually, Biol might be the best player on his team. I don't know. And certainly Cadenzi has a ton of, Cadenzi has a ton of practice just from playing out in Korea for so long. TT1 Spire might be a close second, and then Hirmu might be able to cheese out Scan, but Scan's just a badass. So yeah, Cadenzi versus Biol absolutely, I think, deserves to be the key matchup.
Yeah, I was going to say Cadenzi versus Biol as well. Obviously, both of them really, really strong players. Just to actually go through their histories and how they've done so far in the STPL. Cadenzi started off on red in round 2 and 3. But she's done really well overall. She's got a 66% win rate. She hasn't played the best team or the best players on their respective teams. She actually did lose to Yeti in round 2, and she lost to Koget in round 3. So they're probably the two best players she played, as well as Kimchi for DM. He's come out nowhere for round 4 and done a really, really good job. You can see she actually lost 24 ELO for losing to him. But Cadenzi overall, really good win rate. Her opponent here is going to be Biol. Now, Biol obviously qualified for the ASL twice in a row. Didn't get out of the round of 24 both times, unfortunately. But he's got an 81% win rate in the STPL Rapid.
Yeah, that is just quite good. I don't know whether or not we're going to I see that continue, just because it's just so hard to keep a win streak like that. Like, come on, man. But he is actually just that good. He's qualified for ASL, like you said, and he's just a badass. So if anybody can beat Biol, I mean, maybe it is this matchup, but I don't think that is an easy task by any means.
Yeah, so if we actually have a look at our map here, we're going to go into La Mancha for game number 2. Cadenzi versus Biol on this match, or on this map, should be really cool. ZVT, certainly a really interesting map here. Obviously, depending on where you spawn, the naturals are quite open to Mutalisks, so you see the cliff behind the natural there on all of them. Just makes it a little bit easier for Mutas to jump in and out. One of the builds that I know Cadenzi's playing a lot recently is actually 2-hatch Muta, so I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing that here, but she actually did play some practice games against me before this game, and she was destroying me with 2-hatch Muta.
Are you going to take credit for her win just because you let her beat you up ahead of time?
To be honest, I'm actually going to say it's probably a detriment practicing with me, so hopefully I haven't rubbed off like the wrong way and like she's suddenly going to like catch the noob from me, but we'll have to see how this game's going to go. It's going to be on La Mancha. It's Cadenzi versus Biol. FBW are up 1-0. Let's see if Biol can tie that up, or if we're going to go into game 3 with a 2-0 lead for FBW. Get going. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, we do have the Green Terran fighting for SouL. It's Cadenzi. Biol, even. Wow. Close, but no cigar.
Close enough. Wow. All right. And his opponent on the other side of the map is our green or teal Zerg player, Cadenzi, who is down on the bottom left. I don't know what to talk about other than how good Biol is, or how much Cadenzi's practiced out in Korea, because we could probably talk about that for a while. But I am really excited to watch them face off on this map, because we talked about already how Zerg favored this does tend to be.
Yeah.
So... yeah, we're guaranteed gonna have this.
Yeah, 8 racks here is definitely a decent build. Obviously, you don't know where your opponent spawned, but shouldn't be too bad. Obviously, if Cadenzi does go for a 12 hatch, then this is going to be a very quick game, most likely with Bjorn's Marine Micro coming in. But just to kind of mention some of the accomplishments of both of these players, obviously Bjorn is the player to have reached the ASL 2 seasons in a row. He's made it through the qualifiers really well both times. But Cadenzi, she's currently sat at #1 on the female streamer or female BJ ELO ranking system in Korea at the moment. She won the first Ladies Africa Star League as well. So Cadenzi is pretty well versed in the Korean tournament culture as well. So looks like Cadenzi is actually going to go for a 12 hatch, which could be a little bit dangerous here. Obviously, Bjorn is going to opt to go for this barracks up here. I'm surprised he didn't build it lower and then just go for a wall if it goes wrong, but I guess he can always fly that back a little bit later. But what's Bjorn going to do behind
Yeah.
this? Is he going to go for 1-1-1, or do you think he's going to go for an expansion?
Oh, I think probably just Expo after it, because so you 8 racks to find out exactly what you have to deal with early, and one of the benefits that that gives like really top players is that they can say, okay, well, how much do I really need to defend against what they're going for? And he's going to see the early hatchery and think, okay, well, I don't actually need to worry about too much in theory, because he will have that depot to help with the wall once he lifts his racks into position. So I think he just Expos after this, honestly. But hey, hey, Kicks. Hey, Kicks, that's actually a lot of SCVs.
Yeah, now Cadenzi unfortunately doesn't see the barracks. She will see the SCVs though leaving, so this is going to be a big tell of what's to come. All the drones are being pulled. The hatchery hasn't yet finished, but if Cadenzi can stop this first bunker coming up, it's going to make things a lot easier. But obviously with all of these Gundams, oil barons coming down across the bottom left-hand side of the map, Cadenzi's going to have to hold on until she can get at least a sunken colony up. If she can do that without losing too many drones, she's going to be in a good position. But with so many SCVs here, what do? You just have to pull everything.
Yeah, and drilling through the SCVs, especially after having lost your first drone. Oh, second drone going down. This is almost too much damage at this point. Even if you run back into your main and try to mine, how are you going to do it? Oh, no, trying to drill on top of the Marines, but the bunker finishes. The drones go down. And what a heartbreaker of a game, man. Biol with the 8 racks coming through with a win in game #1, or I guess actually game #2 to tie up the series.
Yeah, it's kind of insane just how quick that game was. We're obviously building up quite a lot because both of them have a lot of experience, but unfortunately, sometimes the way the cookie crumbles is you end up with a 3-minute game. So that wasn't even the 6-minute curse. That was just an 8 racks taken down to 12 hatch, and there's not really too much else you can say.
It always surprises me just how fast games of Brood War can end, especially if you screw something up or you don't scout something that you really should. But yeah, honestly, I mean, what else could you do better in that situation? That's just a powerful rush when you don't get a chance to scout the Marines coming that quick.
Yeah, I genuinely, it's one of those things where you can't actually explain that any better. It's just,
yeah,
the game ends so quickly sometimes. Like, one of the things that people say StarCraft 2 has over Brood War is obviously the games are a lot quicker. But then you see games like that in Brood War and it's like, huh, so games go pretty quickly there as well. So hopefully this next game, I've loaded up the replay already, is going to be a lot. I mean, that was kind of an exciting game just from Bjorn's Micro. It was really sick there. Cadenzi did her best with those sort of drone movements, but unfortunately it just didn't really work out in the long term. But it's going to be Spire versus TT1. Now this was a game that I know almost didn't happen because both of the players were having a lot of trouble contacting each other. TT1 had to play his game early. Obviously with Fuji away he had to go through Scan, but then Scan and TT1 are kind of awake at different times, so it made things a lot more interesting. So I'm glad the game did actually get played. It's going to be the 3rd game of the series. We're going to be going in to it's going to be Holy World SE. So if we're going to see a PvZ on any map, I'm glad it's this one, because if Spire has read the notifications, he'll know that the rules to win the game is to infest the command center. If he does that, he just wins the game. That's just how it works now. I've decided. Let's give some some more wins. You know, let's do it. But having a look at the players for both teams, TT1, as we said before, he's got a sick win rate. He's got a 91% win rate.
Wow.
He very nearly had an 11 win streak, but got taken down by Kimchi in the ace match, or well, not the ace match, in the fourth match of New Bloody Ridge DM versus FBW, which actually, I believe Kimchi took down TT1 and Cadenzi to get them their third win overall. So Kimchi being a really strong player, but TT1 has beaten his fair share of really strong players on both sides of the bracket. We saw him beat Avi on either Storm last time. That was a really sick game, and it's just cool to see him back again. And his opponent, gonna be Spire.
All right, now Spire, I mean, you can't say too many bad things about this guy. He's actually one of the, I think I would categorize one of the top amateur players in South Korea. He goes to ASL, KSL qualifiers all the time, and especially with KSL qualifiers coming up. I talked to him a little bit. I just said, "Are you going KSL?" And he's like, "Yes." So we'll see him there a little bit later on. And actually, not to drop too many spoilers, but some good players are playing in KSL this. So he's got some stiff competition.
Okay,
very, very excited to see what he has in store.
Yep, so it's going to be a ZVP even. Spire is actually 3-2 against Protoss. He did manage to take down Eriador's Protoss before, and he took down CRVT as well, and he took down V1 all the way back in round 2 on New Sniper Ridge. So he's not played too many PVZs in the STPL. This is actually the first time Spire's played in quite a while. He's not played since December, so it's going to be cool to see him again and see how much he's improved. We're going to be moving into our third map here. It's going to be Holyworld SE. The games we've had here have been really, really cool. They've been really even. We've actually seen a lot of ZVP here. 4-3 in favor of Zerg. 3-0 in favor of Protoss against Terran, though, so that's kind of surprising. But Radley said Radley feels this is a very good map for Terran, but it doesn't matter. There's no Terrans here. Well, yeah, there's no Terrans in this match anyway. But let's get into the game. It's Spire versus TT1 here on Holyworld SE. And it would help if I actually press the OK button on the replay as we get started here. Yeah,
okay, let's
imagine we're back in like old Pro League with a countdown going, like the players are screaming like start over and over again. It's all good. It's perfect.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. I'll close my eyes in a minute.
Okay, so starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the green Protoss fighting for FBW, who really needs to get his clan tags on. It's TT1.
And TT1's opponent on the other side of the map, in yellow, playing for SouL. This is Spire. I am such a huge Spire fan because I watched him play on like some KCMs way back, or KCM Challenge, I guess. I was just like, wow, it's so sick that he's getting these opportunities. Didn't make it, or didn't really have a good showing there. And honestly, it's kind of hard to find tournaments to watch this guy in, but he does appear on so many of the top player streams when he is laddering, so you can actually catch him a lot of times playing on other players' streams because he does actually play a lot. So TT1, on the other hand, what does this guy do anymore? Streams League of Legends. Okay.
Wow, really?
Sick.
I didn't know he was streaming League. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel sick.
I know, right? First he plays Protoss, and then he doesn't stream StarCraft. Like, I don't know if we can be friends anymore. Friendship with TT1 ended. Now Spire's my only friend.
Spire's your new best friend. That's it.
Yeah.
PVZ should be fun. I just spammed the fact that TT1 was playing in the FBW Discord. TT1 with a lot of fans. Obviously, when he first joined the tournament, I bigged him up as one of the best Protoss players in North America. He's obviously Canadian. But TT1 is the kind of guy who has been around forever, but he just doesn't really play in too many tournaments. And now, so he signed up to STPL, he got into the BSL first time he tried, and did really, really well in Pro League. He unfortunately, I believe, went out, didn't he, in the round of 16, but good player nevertheless. Spire won a good number of, I think he actually won 2 or 3 Havatus, along with his teammate Noob, who, that's where Fuji found them, and gave them a new home. So, good.
Aww.
It's all good. So, we got a pool first, well, an overpool coming in from Spire, Hatchery coming up behind as well, and TT1 going for that gate expand.
Okay, well, we're in with that gateway expand. It's a TT1 special because he does this weird 3 zealot attack, right? So he keeps the probe alive, you get 1 zealot out, maybe you send it out, but then the next 2 come a little ahead of schedule, and especially if he can keep his first zealot alive, that's the big thing. Super, super potent. And I don't see too many other Protoss players doing something quite that style. Also, it's going to take a while for this lonely drone from Spire to actually find TT1, and he actually might not even be able to get the drone into the main, depending on how well this Zealot and Probe were able to block for it.
You know, it looks like TT1 may be a little bit too far back, so he's not going to be able to... Oh, maybe he is. Okay, so he's going to be able to block the drone coming in. The drone does not actually know if there was a Nexus coming up yet. He knows... as a matter of fact, all he knows is the fact there's a gateway there, but here we go. Looks like we are going to have the Zergling going to come in, actually get in. Uncharacteristically, TT1 going to let that Zergling in, and that's going to give Spire the information he needs to be a little bit safer. He won't have to worry about building too many Zerglings. You can already see he's going to add his third hatchery down here at the mineral-only third at the back of his base.
Yeah, so the mineral-only third coming in, I think that's a great opportunity to get that third base out. And, you know, Zerg does use quite a bit of minerals early on. Obviously, later you want to transition. But you can actually just transit or take the back fourth base as well, even though it's a little bit more vulnerable mineral-wise, if you want that gas coming up early.
Yeah, no, especially early game, like, I would say that base is probably one of the safest bases that can take. Huge thank you to Sham2 for the 1001 bit donation. Means a lot, man. Good to see you around as well. I saw that you were streaming Brood War for the first time in ages. I didn't get a chance to watch because I was asleep, but it's good to see you back.
My question is, how does Sham2 stream when one of his arms like got chopped off his body over the course of 9 hours of tattoo work? Like, that's my thing. It's like, I don't understand like the amount of like terrible pain that must entail. That seems like maybe the dumbest thing you could do with your life, but okay, no hate. I actually, in the end, it's going to turn out sick.
Yeah, I understand it entirely. He's used to the pain because he plays Terran on ladder. So
oh, okay,
I get it. Getting a sleeve tattoo is nothing. Like he's played against Protoss, man. That's more pain than you could ever possibly imagine.
I like it. Brood War just tattoos your soul. Anyway, yeah, thanks for the support. Anyway, back to the game itself. You know, unfortunately, there are no Terran players in this game, but still maybe a little bit of pain. Coming across the map, our first deadly 5 zealots
and a probe
and 2 probes.
Well,
one of the probes is running away.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get involved. He's not being.
Why did he let this get scouted though? TT1's probe led the Zergling to scout this attack coming.
I mean, you can scout this conga line, but unless you're going to join the back of it, what exactly are you going to do? Like, I mean, he tries to get in, he doesn't know how to get in the conga line, so he dies immediately to the people kicking. That's a little bit unfortunate, but there are a lot of Zerglings back here at the natural. They are going to be able to get a decent surround here on TT1's Zealots even. You can really see the difference between someone like TT1 and someone like Bonneth. If this was Bonneth, I think most of those Lings would have died, but still, with a relatively decent engagement, but both these, or all 5 of the Zealots are going to go down.
Yeah, and actually not too many Zerglings forced out there. Just enough to be able to not only beat the Zealots, but also pose threat of a counterattack. Actually, there's only 1 cannon up here at home kicks. I think it'll be good enough with the wall, but all it takes is the Zergling sniping the probe in the middle and then running through, but he actually targets the Zealot instead.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to actually get to that probe as well, because you'll have Zealots from both sides killing the Lings as they get close. So definitely good positioning there by TT1, actually a lot better than putting the probe at the bottom or the top. I think that actually makes it a little bit easier to break through. But the first Corsair is going to be on the way here for TT1. Probe, meanwhile, does have a Spire. He's actually going into his 4th hatchery with the Hydralisk Den. And I thought that was a 5th hatchery coming down at the bottom, but it seems to be like an egg on the bottom left of the minimap is like really big for some reason. So no 5th hatchery as of yet here for Spire, but that's probably going to be his next course of action. He's not really going to go into mass Hydra behind this, I don't think. Well, he will, but the first Corsair goes down to 2 Scourge, so that's the perfect win here for Spire.
All right. Well, with the Corsair going down, I mean that's more than you could ever hope for, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's just gonna make it so hard to get that. And he's gonna lose another one too. Um,
Oh, the first Corsair. Well, the first Scourge hits it even. Scourge even. Ah, can't speak. I'm taking on. I'm saying Scourge on Naokin says it now. God damn. Scourge.
oh, the scourge of the seas. Is that what they are? I don't know about that one. Anyway.
Spy's getting a good scout, sees no Templar archives yet, which are going to make him feel pretty good about himself. He has knocked down the Corsair count by 1. He does have a second gas, so a muteless switch is not unheard of in this situation. The 5th hatchery coming up as well. And that 5th hatchery, I think, is actually going to make it a little bit harder for his units to get out of his main. So hopefully that doesn't cause too many traffic jams a little bit later on, but Spire is in a great position.
Sure is, Kicks. Well, with Spire having this soft contain out here, the only thing he really has to worry about is when +1 legs finish, or +1 and legs. Imagine if you get 3 leg upgrades. Holy cow. I was like, yeah, this is +2 legs, honest. That would be so crazy. This is a lot of zealots, and you'll notice what Spire did right there. You move forward, then back to scout the zealot number, because when this explodes, this is going to be gigantic.
Yeah, and just want to say, just before I miss my moment, there is technically a +2 Zealot leg upgrade. It's when they die, they become Dragoons, get 4 legs. Bam.
Because they already have 2 legs, so the other two. Ah, I see what you did there.
Okay, +1 attack coming in for Spire. Obviously, he's going to have to hold on against all of these Zealots. We saw the micro of TT1 wasn't quite up to scratch before, but I mean, this is obviously a pretty good engagement for him to take the Zealots, doing a lot of damage on these Hydras and Lings. But Spire, with really good control, going to be able to mitigate most of the damage.
Yeah, wow. That's actually really strong. And the run. Oh no, he's gonna lose his Corsairs. He lost one, and now he's gonna have to pull back. It sucks when you lose your first Corsair, and then you also lose more Corsairs once you remax, because you're already going for something that's a little bit weakened. More and more Hydras on the way, and that's a lot of Corsairs in the air. Kicks. Could be difficult, but at least it was scouted in time to throw up a bunch of cannons.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of cannons. The one disappointing thing is he didn't attack the neutral command center in the middle. He wanted to go for the bust. But you know what? You can't get the bust now, so what do? You get a queen, you take the neutral command center, and you just build like the most OP thing against Protoss ever. Zero went for Infested Terrans on this map against someone in Pro League back in the day, and he demolished the Protoss with Infested Terrans.
I think it was Cal, yeah.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen, TT1. You've got the power. You can't really do any busting here, but he's got no Queen's Nest as of yet, so a little bit annoying. No 4th base coming up either, and he is going to be able to get the gateway in the Forge, but getting all these cannons, especially when we've got 2 Templar back here, is going to be very difficult, and TT1 making use of the map features, going to get a 3rd base anyway, so he's not too worried about the front.
I'm surprised he doesn't build a DT here, because there's only 1 Overlord, and he has +1 for his Corsairs. So even though he did lose a few of them, you can absolutely run into this little crevice on the bottom side of this Hydra Ball and just kill the Overlord.
Yeah, and then the DT does a lot, and obviously he's got the option of going for Storm as well. Now, I really want to see TT1 go for Maelstrom. Oh, sorry, it's Spire.
Oh!
Spire's the Zerg. I don't know why, I was telling TT1 to attack the neutral command center. I meant Spire, there we go. Yeah, the first Storm's pretty good. TT1 is actually an avid user of Dark Archon as well, so hopefully a little bit later on we'll see like a Maelstrom into a Storm. He's a pretty big advocate of doing that, so that could be fun. And TT1 getting his 3rd base, he'll be able to go for a 4th base behind this as well, so we could still have a relatively long game behind this. Oh.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Spire's going back to the middle. Is this the moment? Is he going to attack the command center? No.
Oh man, I was getting my hopes up. This is what happens when you try to believe, Kicks.
Yeah, he's going into a mutant switch though, and the mutant switch is going to be very powerful. Got 11 mutants already, has a good number of Scourge. Is there any +1 Carapace? No +1 Carapace coming in, but you can see that TT1 has actually stopped Corsair building on 4 Corsairs, so this could get a little bit worrying. Kadar and Amulet is on the way, so TT1 is going to be relying a lot on these on the Corsairs even. at least until he can get some more storm energy. Oh no, he's actually killing two of his... He killed two of his cannons to try and get units out, but he doesn't
I don't know
actually
if
have
that
the
was a
units to
good
get
call.
any out of the base yet. So yeah, those cannons were kind of important. This could spiral out of control if Spire decides to attack.
Also, a lot of TT1's gateways are not rallied, so you know that's also gonna be bad if he leaves a bunch of extra zealots in his main. Like he has 4 zealots just totally AFK in his.
Oh, the Corsair's getting a little bit too far forward. One of them gets sniped
Ooh.
immediately, and he still hasn't seen the Mulus. Now he has. What's his
Oh
reaction going to be?
no! Nothing. Nothing. He actually does nothing. He does 0 things. Kicks.
Yeah, so that one of the Corsairs still is alive. There is a single cannon that does manage to take out a single Mutalisk, so that's something. And TT1 obviously still on 3 bases. He wasn't fully prepared for this Muta switch, but he did already have cannons in all of his mineral lines, so that helps him a little bit. Obviously going to need starting on some more Corsairs. No, he's going to skip Corsairs for now and try and go for 1-1 Dragoons to try and deal with these Mutalisks. But he's going to have to be careful. He does have a lot of Storm at least, and that's a very strong spell.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Storm, and he's about to hit +2 for ground and Cardarian amulets. So this is going to make this ground army actually very potent. The problem is that so you build up, you build up, you build up, and you got to like make that work. Granted, 3 base is pretty nice to have as a Protoss. One of them is mineral only, but the idea is you got to find a way to get a third. So either you take this back third and then throw up a million cannons, but look at what we have here. Oh, I thought that was a drop, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
actually
it's
just a
not.
bunch of overlords.
It would be good to go for drop in this situation, though. He is actually going to
Oh yeah.
research that, so there's going to be a
Oh
big drop
sick.
either into the back of the main or into this third base. And TT1 does have High Templar over in his top right base. He's got a lot of cannons, but obviously when you start to get a sick amount of Hydralisks, things get a lot more difficult. Now there is a kind of weird standoff at the front of the base. There's no High Templar near the front, so you can't get any massive storms. But he does have to be careful. The Mutalist to chase him back, the only Corsair he has, it goes down. And the Mutalist going to fly into that third base, see the number of cannons, and just fall back.
Man, this is a full control group of mutants. This is so scary. More importantly, it just keeps TT1 in the base, or in his main, so Spire can afford to go through this back 4th base because he realistically be attacked there for a while. Now, finally, TT1 has had enough, and he is going to dial down the middle of the map here, and I don't know if Spire really wants to fight. Okay, so he's just a feint. All right, never mind.
Yeah, he doesn't want to push out just yet because +2 armor isn't done. And +2 attack isn't done either. Oh, +2 attack just finished, it's +1 armor.
Yes.
That's not quite finished. But when +1 armor finishes, that's going to make this very difficult. But obviously with this drop tech coming in, this could be a bit of a mistake here for TT1. Now the Overlords are going to show themselves in the middle of the map, which could show, that's a nice storm on top of the Mulus. The second one, not too good, and all of the High Templar have gone down. All of a sudden TT1 is going to have to fall back because pure Hydra against pure Dragoon Zealot is not a fight a Protoss really wants to be in. But TT1 behind this, he's going to take his 4th base. Spire only just now taking his 4th base as well. And there's still no Queen's Nest. Why is there no Queen's Nest? You could have this in the middle. Just take
One
it.
job. He had one job. Well, the Mutas have one job, and that is to take out this Expo coming down to the 4th that the Overlord up there is scouting. But you don't want to have them too far out of position, so I can understand keeping them back with the army. Let's just take a look at these Overlords. Okay, running up to try to snipe those. Dragoon's not the best sniping Overlords, especially when they have speed. So,
yeah.
Well, I guess Dragoon's not the best at anything, really.
Okay, there is a double drop. Well, there's a drop coming up here with 2 lurkers in, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to take it out. He doesn't know there's anything in it either, so those lurkers are going to be able to get in, and looks like we do have a big engagement. These are actually stop lurkers. He's holding, waiting for the army to get on top. This is going to be a huge amount of damage. Unhold the lurkers. He's not unholding them. There we go.
Oh, he's using them to snipe the High Templar in the back, and now all of a sudden, not only can TT1 not retreat from that path, he's taking a ton of spike damage, and he can't kill them because he has no observer with his army and no storm.
Yeah, so there is a single High Templar coming in here with a single storm. Oh no, it's going to go down!
Oh no, the bad rally point. Oh, it's such a huge unit to lose. And keep in mind, TT1 can't fight here because he can't run in and then lose to the lurkers on the ground, which once again, are invisible.
Yeah, now the Mutas have actually taken out the 3 cannons at this 4th base. A lot of A lot of the probes going there, gonna go down. The Lurkers went down at least, so that's one little win for TT1. But he's finally got an observer here. This is going to make his army significantly stronger. A nice storm on the top of this concave. But this is so many Zerg units.
The Zealots actually should be doing pretty well here because he's not microing the Hydras. So I think the Zealots will actually have a great job or do a great job at cleaning this up. The problem is that they're unsupported, right? Oh, yeah. I didn't actually notice the concave was as big as it was.
There was a huge concave. The concave was so big that I had to fully zoom out to get all of it on one screen. Spire come in from so many different angles there that it just made things so awkward. Now the trouble is, TT1 obviously has the option of going for this fourth base, but the Mutants cleared it up. He never added on any additional Corsairs, even though he got +1 attack. So he's not only going to have to deal with the Corsairs still, he's going to be contained in his main base. Obviously, we're going to see another... Oh, I thought there was going to be a little drop coming in, but it's not. And TT1's going to try and break out again. But just look at what's going to happen. Spire's going to pick up a load of units and fly into the main.
Oh, he's losing his High Templar. He only gets one storm off, and sure, it's good enough to take out the Muta that was there. But losing the other one, he has no High Templars. For Protoss, like, their army is so good when they allow the energy to build up over time, but he can't do that because he lost all of them.
Yeah, now there's a bunch of Hydras in his main base. The cannons he had, not enough to deal with all of these units, and Spire is picking TT1 apart now. He's going for the 5th base down in the bottom right hand corner as well, and GG! The Lurker on the ramp blocking most of the units from getting back to defend, and Spire takes down TT1 in game number 3.
Well. This is just quite the struggle forming here for Foreign Brood War. Sure, they got the walkover win in game 1, but SouL fires back with 2 very impressive wins in a row over some of Foreign Brood War's best players.
Yeah, so if we head back to the cameras here, obviously that was game 3, Spire taking SouL to a 2-1 lead in the series, so it's going to be a very important final match here with Hinamu versus Scan, because depending on how this actually goes, we could either see an ace match, or we're going to see a 3-1 victory for SouL, so it's going to be hard for FBW here. If Hinamu can take down Scan, that's going to be a massive upset, but it's going to be so important if FBW want to make it to the playoffs.
You are absolutely correct, Kix. And so, without further ado, let's take a quick break, and then we can come back with perhaps our final match.
Yeah, so let's head on over to a quick break. See you guys in just a second. Okay guys, welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix. You're joining us here for SouL versus FBW. SouL are currently 2-1 up over their opponents. and they're going into match point with one of their strongest players, and this is going to be an uphill battle here for the captain of FBW.
That's right. Not only the captain of FBW, but I feel like, okay, are we going through the strongest part of SouL's roster? I think this is something SouL does better than White Clan, by the way, as the two Korean organizations here, is that SouL plays their strongest players every week. And for Foreign Brood War, they can try, but oh man, it just is so difficult. And sure, Hirmu is their captain, but he is maybe not the strongest player on the team, but he might be the most creative.
Yeah, now Hirmu is definitely one of the more interesting players in round 3. He kind of got relegated for a while onto just Plasma, so we saw a lot of really cool games come out of him from there. He's only got a 33% win rate, but I think he's actually played every single week for FBW since round 1. So definitely one of the more active players. He's played a lot of games, he's played against a lot of really, really strong opponents as well. And it's going to be cool to see how he's going to do against Scan. I mean, Scan... What can I say about Scan? He's got an 85% win ratio, he's 3rd place in the yellow ranking system. And he's just had some 6-hit games. The only game he's lost in the past... Let me count this. Wait. In the past 10 games, there's only 10 on the screen. I don't know why I needed to count. I even set this up. But the only game he lost was on Neo Chain Reaction against Anne from BT, and that was a really sick game. So, Scan isn't unbeatable. It's not on this screen, but back in round 3, I think it was actually the week before he lost to Cold, before he beat Cold even, he lost to a Yaji on Sin Peaks of Baekdu. So, it'll be interesting to see if Hirmu can maybe come up with an interesting cheese to cheese Scan out. I definitely see if it goes to a macro game that Scan will have the advantage, but you never know what Hirmu's going to pull out of his bag of builds.
Yeah, that's right. Certainly the bag of builds in a very good place for Hirmu. 10 hatch is maybe the go-to that I would expect to see, but yeah, it's creative. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so if we're looking at the map stats now, this is a 2-player map. We've actually had 3 GZs here so far, with Terran being 2-1 up, so not the biggest of sample sizes. Medinho, I think, actually got the walkover of the Faust on this map, so it's 1-1. But Hirmu went up against Marine Sai a few weeks ago, did lose. Unfortunately, YY took down Torsan. So let's get into game number 4, and let's see if the odds stacked up against FBW are going to knock them not only out of this match, but possibly even out of the playoff places in the final couple of weeks again. Or are we going to see Hirmu pull off a miracle? Okay, so starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the white Terran fighting for SouL, Gan.
That's right, and his opponent on the other side of the map in hold on, my map is not turning on for okay, that's weird.
Press Q.
No, I pressed Q, but it's just not turning on. I'll get back to you on that one. This is a little bit odd. His opponent on the other side of the map is Hirmu. We just have to click around a lot this game. Huh. I've never had this happen before. So yeah, Hirmu is in the purple on the bottom left-hand side. Well, let me... Okay, I alt-tabbed and it fixed it. I don't know why. There you go. Yeah, so Hirmu, what's going on over here? We're going to have to keep an eye on this. We're not having overpool or anything like that. We are going the distance here. Finally, an Overlord in production. I think we're going all the way to 12 here, Kicks.
Yeah, now 12 hatch against Scan is not something you often see from the foreign players in the tournament. Oftentimes they try and cheese him out. Scan obviously has come close to qualifying to the big tournaments a good number of times, but where he's in his military service, he can't try and go for ASL or KSL at the moment. Still playing quite a few games though on his off time, which is always good to see. And he's always been blessing us with some really, really cool games to watch in the STPL. So huge shout outs to Scan as well as Hirmu.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, let's get into the actual game because it might heat up a little bit here. We've got more drones coming in, and yes, it will be a 12 hatch. And so I think Hirmu's thought is, okay, well, let's just go for the most economic start because honestly, Scan could do the same exact thing Beal did. Just go for an 8-rack, scout across the map, and bop Hirmu out of the game.
Yeah.
But it looks like Scan is a merciful god here and is not going to go for such an aggressive start.
Yeah, so he's actually going to go in for a gas though, so he is going to either go for a 1-1-1. There are a few options you can go off of gas early game in TVZ. There's some that you don't really see that much anymore, but it's certainly something that I have seen Scan do on ladder back when he used to stream a lot, where you actually just go for 2 factory and go for double vulture upgrades and just kind of run past any Sunkens and kill the Zerg. There is 2-port Wraith as well. Now, one of the features of this map that you may not know about is because this is the proper Kesper version, the final version of the Kesper map had a single wide choke which you can actually block with the supply depot, so it does actually make a fully linked out wall if I remember correctly. So maybe this is what makes tech a little bit more safe on this map. You can just get the perfect wall off early on, and then that's going to be it. But it looks like it is just going to be 1-1-1. Scan has pulled off of gas, so he's going to be going for a command center after this, and very likely a starport behind that as well. And he's going to be going for 3 hatch.
3 hatch. All right, so we're going to start off with that. It's scouted, so it's not like it's a mystery to Scan. What's his follow-up going to be? Just about to complete the factory, and that's when we really find out. But I guess he's just going to go 1-1-1 all the way up to starport.
Yeah, I would imagine we're going to see the at first, but obviously he does have the option of he does have the option of going for the starport. He has saved up his minerals, so yeah, the SUV going out there to the natural. That's going to be a single a command center coming in. Then we'll see the starport soon after on his next 150 minerals.
Yeah, I was really wondering if he was going to go for the starport before command center. Obviously, that's a much bigger commitment economically,
Yeah.
but I think he understands that he's going up against a macro build, so he doesn't really have, because you know there's 2 types of Terran players, right? There's the Guilds that'll get aggressive, right, by just going 1-1-1 or 8 racks or 2 racks or something like that, and then there's the Scans, who I think is stronger in a macro game, if you ask me. So
yeah.
that's kind of some thoughts behind his idea there.
Now, Hirmu is certainly not adverse to going for lurker builds. He's not actually opted to go for a second gas yet. The lair just now starting up. So no Hydra Den obviously signals possibly mutas. He's spending a lot of his lava on drones as well, just to get that macro going as soon as he possibly can. But wow, Scan isn't actually going for a starport. He's going into mech, or maybe not mech, but he's going into an armory first. So with no starport, it's going to be most likely Goliaths here for Scan. He's going to add this second factory on, and he could be going for that 5-fact Goliath build that's kind of been popularized a little bit by Last. Last hasn't played it in any tournaments for a while, but as a matter of fact, I think he used it against. Either way, Last was the one who sort of brought this style back, and Scan definitely wanted to use it on ladder as well. So 5-fact Goliath against a Hydra build, going to be lurkers as well.
Oh man, this is actually really exciting because not only are you going to see just a huge swell of units here coming in from Scan, but it's going to be into what? He doesn't know. He doesn't have Scan energy. Not living up to his name there. But it is going to be... I haven't seen this actually in just so long, Kix, so I'm glad that you mentioned...
Hirmu on the other side is going for fast hive, so he's going to be building enough Hydras to keep himself alive, most likely. And then from there, he's just going to go into a Queen's Nest, which is already building, and he's going to rush for Defilers. And Dark Swarm against a Goliath build, that's pretty good. Like, obviously Goliaths don't do anything. Obviously when you go in mass Hydra, the Goliaths can use the Dark Swarm against you. But the Vultures at the front, they're not going to be doing anything. Scan's going into an engineering bay that's not really going to help him too much because he don't have to worry about muteless or anything. And he still doesn't have his academy yet, so he still doesn't have a clue what Hirmu is going for. Obviously he sees the Hydra Den, but he can't be sure what's happening behind this.
Man, this is so scary. I want to see this work out for Hirmu, because this is obviously like a super tight timing. He's going for queens as well. This actually reminds me of a little bit of a Cadenzi build that she used to do for a long time, which was Hydra and Snare. So you ensnare the bio, and usually bio is really good against Hydra because of the stim DPS, but then you ensnare them, they're totally worthless. The Hydras, who have very high DPS of their own, just run over the Marines, and all of a sudden you can't play that style. Well, you can also get ensnares off on Goliaths, which makes them similarly terrible, and
Yeah.
then you run over them with Hydra. So it's a cool idea, just not one that we see very often.
Now, this is going to be for broodlings most likely, and what makes me say that is this is very reminiscent of a build that Drone gave to Cadenzi, and Drone was advocating this build against the 111 for a very, very long time on FBW.
Yeah, well,
He's
I
going to
mean,
go for
let's see how well
yeah.
ensnare works against Goliaths.
Thing is, it's likely going to be for broodlings because Hydra's on their own
Or
against Goliaths
Broodling,
is
yeah.
pretty sick. So if there's any tanks, basically what you do is you broodling the tank, and then all of a sudden it's Mass Hydra against Mass Goliath, and Mass Hydra wins that. So no hive coming in just yet. Going to be a fourth hatchery being added on.
This is
Dan still can't tell what's going on. So
yeah, that's what I was going to most kind of comment on here, because Scan is of the Flash school that knowledge is power, and so if you don't have the idea of what's happening, how can you prepare against it? So the broodlings will work because there are siege tanks being added into this, but I actually would rather see an snare. Just because for cool factor. But you're right, broodling on the tanks is such a great way to deal with them. The only problem is it takes such a long wind-up time, and usually Zerg has to worry about getting pushed around, now or in a minute or so.
yeah, this is kind of the funny thing with mech openings, because when you go in for mech, obviously you do get a really strong timing when the Zerg tries to get a third gas, but if they don't try and rush a third gas, there's no timing, because Zerg is going to have a lot of units behind this. Siege mode is done now. Second tank is on the way. And let's count them, there's two queens. Both of them are going to have brooding energy soon. And if there's brooding energy against those two tanks, look how many Goliath Scan actually has. He doesn't have that many.
Yeah, wow, this this is so hilarious. I love it because it's such like a do you want to call this a hard counter? I guess it is kind of, but it's not one that you would think of initially. You would never list this in the group of hard counter builds. All right, well, plus one armor's on the way. We're mass producing Goliaths, and you're right, there are only these two tanks, and Hirmu's going for it, but I think the Vultures just caught wind of things.
I don't know, because Scan has still got most of his units in the main. He thinks there's going to be a big drop.
Here we
There's
go,
very few
Scout
units
Marine.
at the front.
Yeah, the Scouting Marine did see this coming. So, hey, we're getting siege tanks. We're sieging them up, kicks. But, uh-oh. There's four queens, all with broodling energy.
Okay, let's see how this is going to go. I think if this goes well, Hirmu could actually just outright win the game. The Overlord going in first, going to soak up some of those Hydra shots. Broodling on the first two tanks. The tank at the back going to get away with its life. And wow, actually a lot of the Hydra's going down. The Queen's going down, but there's very, very few tanks here. The Overlord's going to be very, very annoying. The Goliath's going to have to be focus fired on those ground units. But it looks like Scan maybe just has a little bit too much in defense.
Yeah, he missed a Broodling on the tanks in the back, and then, yeah, the Mass Goliaths, +1 really does do quite wonders against these Hydras. I honestly think if maybe Scan or Hirmu had waited for just a little bit more, then maybe he could have done it, but it's kind of a narrow choke point, and he didn't get the Broodlings off on all the tanks in the end.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit of a heartbreaker there. But even with the one walkover win, SouL is able to take the series in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, very close, so I'm going to have to admit, I was sent 4 replays because I knew there was no walkover, and one of the replays was like, must have been someone's ladder game, and the opponent they were against, so I was like, come on guys, if this is an ace match, you've really got to use your clan tags, because I have no idea who this is. And I guess that makes sense why now. A lot of the clan leaders actually send me more replays than there actually are games, so I don't get spoiled, which is always good. So I never know what to expect. And, I mean, Hirmu did his best there. That was a nice try. I mean, Scan didn't know that was coming. So, I mean, the choke was really, really brutal there to Hirmu, unfortunately. And obviously, just to quickly go through the results quickly, we'll see exactly how that series panned out.
Well, in the end, the series was a 3-1 victory. Yeah, that's not the slide I
Yeah.
wanted to see.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. But
There it
FBW
is.
and SouL Gaming, FBW getting the walkover win against Noob. That's going to really hurt Noob's MMR, or ELO, by the way. That could knock him out the top spot. And then Bjorl taking down Cadenzi in a 3.5 minute game. Spire taking down TT1 in a pretty epic PvZ. And Scan taking down Hinamu at the end there.
All right. Well, I mean, I think this was something maybe you could predict just given how strong SouL are, but I actually think each one of those games had a strong moment
Yeah.
for Foreign Brood War to win. Maybe not the first one because Cadenzi just kind of like died instantly, but the biggest thing at the end of the day is that SouL to continue their undefeated streak so far in STPL.
Yeah, so that is gonna make things look a little bit weird on the results. I'm gonna upload all the results and we can check the standings on Friday. But we'll be back on Friday for some more games. We're gonna have Psy versus Bowl and IRK versus Ash. So tune in, same time, same place, 9 p.m. CET on this Twitch channel. There's obviously the buttons down below where you can support the channel through the Patreon, Maturino, or you can donate, and also you can sub to the channel if you wanted to. There's also the YouTube channel. If you want to see any of the previous games of the SCPL, go down there. There's over 400 VODs from the last year, so we've got a lot of good games. Obviously follow the SCPL on Twitter for all the latest announcements, and then follow Rapid as well.
Okay, well, if you want to, if you wish, if you must, then yes. What another day of STPL in the books. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. You guys can donate to that if you feel so inclined, or just tell your friends there's more STPL out there. Of course, looking forward to seeing you back in a couple days for even more STPL.
Yeah, just before we go, huge thank you to Craig for the 85-bit donation, man. It means a hell of a lot, and we'll see you guys on Friday.